Hello, my lovely listeners. I'm Dr. Mary Barson.
And I'm Dr. Lucy Burns. Welcome to this episode of Real Health and Weight Loss.
Hello, lovely listeners. Dr. Mary here for today's podcast. I'm very excited and feeling very grateful and very humble to be joined by a wonderful member of our real life medicine community, the fabulous Barb. Barb, I would love you to share with our fabulous listeners a bit about you and a bit about how you came to real life medicine and what your journey has been like, because you've got a fabulous story to tell, particularly about some stuff you've been up to recently. So tell us about your beautiful self.
Thank you, Mary, for the invitation. I am a 59-year-old. My career was registered nursing. I worked for 35 years at the Children's Hospital, did a little bit of general practice, and I have been a lifelong dieter. I've been overweight since I was probably 8 years old. I started to put on weight, and it became very clear by the time I was a young tweenie, 11, I was starting to get really hairy, and obviously that was very distressing, and I just got bigger and bigger. In my early 20s, I was diagnosed with Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome by a lovely endocrinologist, and unfortunately, back then, we didn't know what we know now, so I've done lots of diets, restricted myself to 600 calories a day under the direction of a doctor. I've been to Weight Watchers, and I've always eaten real food. As a nurse, I had a desire to eat wholesome food and to cook from scratch. I like cooking. So I wasn't hugely into takeaway food or binge eating, but I couldn't maintain weight loss. And every time I stopped eating what I will call rabbit food, I would just put back more weight on than I had originally started. And so actually I'm quite happy to share this, 15 years ago, my brother died from heart disease, and I had some orthopedic issues with my feet, and I couldn't exercise and dance as much as I had been. So I started to gain weight very quickly. And so I actually, with a BMI that was borderline, had a gastric band inserted, which was a tool. In hindsight, I suspect that because I was so mindful of my eating and prioritising protein even then, I actually probably had some sort of ketosis unbeknownst to me, and I did lose a significant amount of weight, probably to where I am now. And then I got married. And it wasn't that marriage made me happy or anything. It just meant that suddenly food became a priority again, because my husband is a type 1 diabetic. And so I had to start preparing meals. So with that comes the social eating, and I started eating what is relatively normal, but not voluminous, because I couldn't. I still have a restriction, whether I like it or not. But I obviously had carbs with every meal that I ate. And I was probably eating 2 to 3 meals a day. I hadn't been eating since my early mid-20s. I stopped eating breakfast because I knew that made me hungry. And if I was hungry early in the morning, I would eat up to 5 meals a day. So I stopped that because that was a way of me restricting calories, I guess. So I would start eating about 11 o'clock. Yeah, so then fast forward to Anzac Day, around that time, significant because I ate a lot of Anzac biscuits. And a friend had posted on your Real Life Medicine page that she had lost 20 kilos with following the program over the last year. And so she was just putting it out there for people to have a look. That coincided with me having some blood tests. That my HbA1c was pre-diabetic, and I had fatty liver enzymes in my liver function tests, which was not where I wanted to be. So I started exploring. I started reading. I did the 7-week no sugar challenge. I actually found a diary 2 days ago, and you may even remember me asking at various stages. I was terrified. I was anxious. I was scared that I'd never eat carbs again, and I was really scared that I would lose weight and then I would put on more than I had ever had before. But I did the 7 days, then I did the 12.
Yeah, you went from the 7 days to the 12 weeks.
Yeah, so 7 days I did the 12-week program.
Yes, now you're one of our beautiful Momentum members. We love having you in Momentum.
I am. The first 4 weeks were probably hard, really hard. You know, the diary reflects that. And as my woodshed opened, as we talk about, suddenly I wasn't hungry. And I became a nice person. Not my husband suffered shockingly enough. But yeah, it is really hard to give up easily made, ready to grab off a shelf biscuits and bread. But I've done it. And now I guess we're 20-something weeks down the tracks, 26 weeks or something. It doesn't worry me. Like, I prepare that stuff for my grandchildren all the time, carbs for my husband all the time, and I don't want it.
That's amazing. You've done so well.
Yeah, it is. And my blood tests, and the proof's in the pudding. So I know we don't really celebrate weight goals, but for me, I can say I've lost 20% of my body weight in the time.
That's amazing.
And that didn't happen straight away. I would really like to impress upon people that the first 4 or 5 weeks were hard yakka. In fact, I put on a little bit of weight in the first week, and it wasn't until about the 5th week that I lost. But when I did lose, I actually lost a significant amount. I had to use every tool I possibly had for mindset during that time to trust what you people were telling me and trust the process and just keep going, and was well worth it.
I think it's totally okay to celebrate weight loss goals too, by the way. We're all about losing weight healthily and, not just crash dieting or cutting off a leg to lose weight. You're a star. You've just done so well. I got a little chills hearing your story because it's just so similar to my story. That gaining weight around about 8 years old, getting those symptoms of PCOS in your adolescence, the hairiness, and then the yo-yo dieting throughout my adult life. Oh, my Lord, that was me too, but no longer. You said that you needed to use all your mindset skills to make the changes, the real food changes, fit into your life. Could you tell me a bit more about those mindset skills? Were they ones that we taught you, ones that you already had, a combination of both? How did you have that transformation?
It was a hard time for me because I actually had a very big knee injury in January. So I was actually laid up. I wasn't able to do much physical stuff other than in the pool because I couldn't walk so much without tears. So I listened to the hypnosis and I listened to the podcasts.
So you found the hypnosis a really important part of your mindset management. And for our fabulous listeners out there, Dr. Lucy and I are both qualified medical hypnotherapists, and we use a lot of guided hypnotherapy in our programs, including the 7-day sugar-free reset, which is coming up, and of course, including our beautiful Momentum Inner Circle. We use a lot of hypnosis, both live in the coaching calls and also these recorded hypnoses, and they are such a powerful and safe way to really supercharge that mindset change that is so important for the long-term change that you, Barb, have experienced.
I listened to everything you did. I participated as much as I could in the sessions, the weekly sessions, and the Facebook page, and interacting with the others who were going on the same journey. And we're all on a different journey. No two stories are the same. We've all got different backgrounds, different reasons for being overweight or metabolically unwell. And so it's not one size fits all, but we can use all the tools that we have access to help us. And I need to work more on listening more to hypnosis and doing the extra things that we get to do. I'm not fantastic at that. I am, despite it's ridiculous, despite the fact that I can't work, I'm for some reason time poor. I don't know how that works, but
No, you've got people in your life that you've got things you do, people you look after. There's lots you do.
yeah, and I suppose what I'm doing is taking on the grandkids where historically while I was at work my husband looked after them. So, but I have taken that on. So he's now got more leisure time and I have more baby time. But like I do the hypnosis, especially in the night times, and that I found that I slept better. So I do, if I'm awake, listen to hypnosis. And you offer us up a lot of extra resources to research. So I actually do spend a lot of time reading the scientific information in the background because that's my craft. And on the side, I live in a village, in a lifestyle village, and there's a few friends here that have been very curious. And so we share a little bit around what I research and have a little group that we sit together and chat about carbs and no carbs. And two of those ladies are doing keto for health reasons. One's part of your group and one's not. And they both do it under a doctor. So we have a support group.
Oh, that's lovely. That connection, it's so important that, yeah, it's like, I like to call it vitamin connect. Like we really do need it. And you've found it. And it's one of the things with Momentum too. In our Momentum membership, you've got your lovely community. Like it's online, but it's there. It's supportive.
I'm careful how I say it. Probably if you say you do keto, that conjures up some negative connotations for people. So I generally say that I have removed carbohydrates from my diet because I don't see my diet as unhealthy. The only thing that's missing from my plate is potatoes, pasta, rice and bread, biscuits, and the stuff that I personally wouldn't have eaten before. So I wasn't a person that spent a lot of time buying pre-prepared bases for dinners. I make my food with the herbs and spices off the shelf.
Yes.
and the herbs in the garden. So the food is amazing.
Yeah, tell me, how do you feel about the food that you eat now?
Well, I eat exactly the same as I ate before, except I've cut out the carbs, the seed oils, anything that's got numbers in it. So the food additive numbers. If I had one, it would be very rare and not something that's soap or...
You've come so far. Do you tell me, like, I'd love to know a little bit more about, like, how you were feeling back when you were stuck in that diet land. You said you were on 600 calories a day diet under medical supervision, but that's extreme restriction, and you did Weight Watchers and you were eating rabbit food. You could lose weight, but it would bounce back again. I mean, I can relate to that, I reckon.
So during those times, 600 calories, Weight Watchers, I was hungry all the time. In Weight Watchers, I would save points, so I would eat egg for breakfast with a piece of toast, and I would eat the same things every day. Egg for breakfast with a piece of toast. I made minestrone soup, which was 1 point. I had minestrone every day, and I did this for probably a year.
Wow.
I wanted to get pregnant, so I had to lose the weight. So minestrone soup, and then we would have like dinner, and it would be from one of the Weight Watchers books. When I was doing 600 calories, I was in my 20s, but I remember there being lots of lettuce, tomatoes, salads, beans, fish, because fish, you got more calories out of fish. I was hungry. I was starving, and I did starve myself. And unfortunately, I had a massive car accident on the way home from work. Not my fault. And I was severely injured and obviously in hospital, and then I couldn't exercise. And I put on probably 20 kilos after that. It was just that creeping. You go, lose some, gain more, lose some, gain even more, to the point where I probably had a BMI over 40. I don't really know. It was extremely high. And I couldn't move. I was getting restricted in movement and everything. So, yeah, that's hard. Those diets are soul-destroying, really. And then you think, well, what's wrong with me? And you'd look at other people, you would go, they can eat all that and they're relatively slim, but why can't I? It just wasn't fair. Where this has provided me with the answers, and I'm now of the absolute mindset, carbohydrates are just not for me. Like, I don't metabolize carbohydrate properly. If I do have a sneaky carbohydrate, I get hungry. And when you get hungry, you start looking for things, and I don't want to feel that. I don't feel hungry anymore, and I don't feel my tummy. Like, I have no awareness of my abdominal workings on the whole, where before I was bloated and I had joint pain. My joint pain's gone. On the whole, my small joint pain. My nodules have all got, like, they're not really there anymore. I even noticed, funny, I've had this little nodule thing in my mouth for so long. The dentist has been watching it, and I realised the other day it's gone. And I'm like, oh, how did that happen?
It's great. It's like the magic of real food. Everything's healing. I love that.
Yeah. When we say about real food, obviously I didn't use olive oil. I used some olive oil. They always had it. But I cooked in rice bran oil. So one thing we learnt from you and Lucy and the other doctors that promote this lifestyle is that seed oils are not good for us. So I cut out all of those. I mean, obviously you can't control that when you're in a restaurant. You've got to kind of not get anxious about that, because you can't. But at home you can. So I've done it at home, and we eat real butter now, not a mix. So I've made quite a few changes in the fridge from that end that I thought previously were healthy. So now I'm enlightened.
Yes, you are enlightened and doing so well. How are you feeling kind of physically within yourself now?
I feel good. I feel mostly energetic. I wake up in the morning with energy. I sleep well. Yeah, like, I have energy. I never have no energy. Like yesterday we went to Melbourne, and normally I would prepare boiled eggs to take with me and cheese, because I don't want to go and eat in places where the protein, you could go out and eat, but often the amount of protein you get is very minimal. And so usually that meal after lunch is my first meal of the day. So I actually want it to be a decent amount of protein. And I forgot it. I didn't have any food with me, sitting on the kitchen bench. So the kids all had their food. We stopped in Williamstown on the way back. We went to a park, and I just fed the kids, and they ran around, and I went, oh, well, I'm just not going to eat. So I didn't eat. And then eventually I ate a little bit of pork about 3 or 4 o'clock, and that was enough until we came home and we had dinner. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I'm ravenous, I've got to eat. Just doesn't happen. It's really fascinating. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How cool is that?
It is so cool. It is so cool that we can do this. It was hard yakka until about that week 4 or 5.
Oh, yes, very much so. Like, my husband was eating his things. The way he was set up with his pump, he would have to have supper. So he'd be eating bananas and custard and stuff like that. And I'd be like, every spoon that hit the bowl, I'd want to rip his head off. I was like, could you just leave? He's like, oh.
Yes, that was while you were still healing your metabolism and opening your woodshed and becoming a fat burner. But then what was it like after that 4 to 5 weeks when you became a fat burner, opened that woodshed?
I just became focused. So I put pumpkin on my plate most nights if we have it, but often I don't eat it. And it's the strategy I use. If it's there, it's not like I can't have it. And I know like it's an orange food, but sometimes I might just have like a half a teaspoon of it and that's enough. But I try to prioritize my protein. So generally I eat whatever meat first with a little bit of vegetable, but not all of the vegetable, so that my protein is, the majority of the food in that initial stage is protein. And then I actually start to feel full fairly quickly. Some days I'll finish my meal and some days I don't. I probably eat mindfully and listen to my body and the feedback that I'm getting from it. So you can get a bit caught up going, make sure you eat enough protein. I feel like you need to make sure you don't make yourself feel overfull and uncomfortable. And, I mean, I do, again, an honesty, I do drink a little bit of protein powder in the form of the tasteless collagen one each day because I have the band.
Well, if you've had a gastric band, I actually think that's a really sensible thing to do. That's something that we talk about. Yeah, absolutely.
So I try to keep my proteins up in the range where they're supposed to be. Again, I'm 60. Postmenopausal, muscle is so important for me to keep because I don't want my muscle wasting away.
No, it's so important.
I do that to make sure that, when I'm doing my strength, my rehab, that I try and build muscle with protein. But, yeah, that, obviously depends how much protein you have to have and how much, I probably couldn't eat 200 grams of steak. That would be too much for me, unless I didn't eat anything else at all. So I usually have I probably have 14 grams of protein a day. So half in the morning and half in the evening in tea, cup of tea. And I do the cream with my coffee. I don't do milk.
Lovely. Delicious cream with coffee. You can totally do that with a real food diet.
So that was another thing in the beginning. The cream in your drink felt like I was naughty. And that's
so much to unlearn.
A throwback. Yes, you have to unlearn all of that. Eggs are bad for you. Cream is naughty. Cheese, lots of cheese. I mean, I get away with the dairy products, but I've discovered cottage cheese isn't so awful anymore. And the cottage cheese that I would recommend is the Boer high-protein cottage cheese. That's yummy. I put berries on that and a bit of cinnamon, and it's quite sweet. And that's the other thing. Once you get going, you can smell sweet and you can taste everything is super sweet. So you might think you're going to need sugar or alternatives forever, but if you cut it out, you actually start to taste food again. And everything tastes so more intense, the flavours, and even carrots, pumpkin, beetroot, all of those are really, you can taste the sugar in them. They're sweet vegetables.
The real food, that's right. Yes, your taste gets retrained and you just discover that joy of real food. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So that's... I'm never going back to full-on carbs. I'm not saying I wouldn't eat if I was in Paris and there was a delicious cake there, I'm not going to say that I would have it because I would want to experience that in a special place. So I'm not going to say that it means that I can never, ever have a cake again, but I'm not going to eat a junkie cake just because it's there. And I do drink alcohol. And, of course, I went on holidays and I drank alcohol every day.
Good. You can totally drink alcohol on a real food diet.
So you probably wanted to talk about that, about when I went away on holidays.
I do, yes. And I love that you drink alcohol every day and still achieve all your health and weight loss goals. That's excellent. And, yes, beautiful human. I loved seeing you in the coaching calls and, you were off on your cruise and you were just nailing it. So, tell us a little bit about how you stayed on track while cruising the world.
So we went to Japan first and we were in Japan for a week people will know there's a lot of noodles and ramen and rice and everything. So I was concerned, how am I going to navigate this? But I had my protein powder with me, my trusty protein powder. And sometimes I would go to breakfast and I would not eat because I didn't want to eat early. But when you travel Europe in the Northern Hemisphere, it's pretty rare that you can't get boiled eggs in a buffet-style breakfast situation. They just have boiled eggs for whatever reason. So I would just grab a couple of boiled eggs, whack them in a coffee cup, grab some salt and pepper and a piece of butter, and off I would go. And then if I was out during the day and I needed to eat, I had my trusty boiled eggs there as my backup. And when we would go into restaurants, like my friends wanted to eat a lot of noodles and ramen and soba and that, I would just ask for mine with no noodles. So I would try and find the soup that had the most protein, that looked like the most protein on it. And then in Japan, I would eat the soup, the broth. And some of those broths were really rich, like almost collagen. My daughter told me what they're called, but they're really thick and creamy sort of. Anyway, I would eat those. For dinner, I would try and go to Korean barbecue, or I just would try and make sure I had protein. If for alcohol, I drank gin or vodka with soda water and lime juice. And it was really hot. And then, so when we got onto the cruise ship, it became easy because you've got the buffet there and the main dining rooms that'll adjust things if you want them. You just say, I don't want any potato, or I want 2 lots of green vegetables, and on the whole, the amount of protein you got was good. I would go into the buffet and they would have things like the roast. So most ships will have a roast of the day sort of thing. So you can go to the carvery and just get meat, and you can get your vegetables. There's always salad. Most places have a pasta bar that will cook fresh for you. So I would lob up to the pasta bar and I would grab some salmon and a few veggies that were on the green list and hand them to the chef and say, can you cook that for me, please? And I don't put the pasta in. So you can do it. You just got to trust that you don't actually need the pasta to be, it's just garbage. It just fills up your plate and it's cheap. And so it actually, only thing it adds is a texture. It doesn't add anything else. And you can train yourself to go without that texture. And so, yeah, the desserts, they're not amazing desserts. They're just sweet and, just go without them. You don't have to have them because they're not really nice. They're just mass-produced. And then I can tell you that Singapore was by far the hardest. Singapore was a challenge because there is a lot of sneaky carbs in food in Singapore, and they have a really sweet tooth. I went to places like a French bakery and bought the baguette, and I just take the inside out of the baguette and leave the bread on the plate. And there was plenty of protein in that. I would eat satay. I didn't like the satay's got a bit of sugar in it, but I didn't find that it caused any main issues for me. And then obviously anywhere through Asia, you can get roast pork, roast duck, cut off, sliced off with lots of crackling and all that anywhere. So I ate pork, I ate duck, I ate the green vegetables, the satay sticks, chicken, eggs. They eat lots of eggs. And that's kind of how I navigated it.
That's so good.
And I did do I do intermittent fasting. That's how I managed. And I drank like anything with soda. I had 2 cocktails while I was away, just as a treat. They were very sweet. And I thought, I don't really need that. So, and yeah, I came back. I didn't lose weight while I was on holidays. I think I came back. Oh, hang on. I initially lost about 1 or 2 kilos. And then I stayed the same for the rest, and then I lost weight when I came home. But I was still in low-end ketosis. I managed to maintain really low if I tested, but it can be done. Like, there are options. And I even ate the casseroles, and you've got no idea. Like, obviously I can't control the oils and I can't control the thickeners and what they put in the casseroles. I did eat them, but if they tasted sweet, really sweet, I just thought, nah, go and get something else. That's the joy about being on a cruise. You can actually get it, taste it.
Totally.
Go and get something else if it's not suitable. No. If they put a lot of sugar in it, easy. How's that?
So good. You had this fantastic transformation and mind and body, and you did it while you were traveling.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I missed out on anything. And I'm not particularly that strong. It's only through this and through the change in hunger that's helped, that because of what we do and because I don't feel hungry, it's not constantly chattering away in my head to eat or find treats. And, I still eat a bit of dark chocolate, and I enjoy dark chocolate now, where I hated dark chocolate before. If I have tried a piece of milk chocolate somewhere, that's way, like, you just change. And if you just trust the process, follow the guidelines and the lists, eventually you'll change forever. And those habits and memories of before, I think, dissipate and quieten. And it's just like, it's enlightening, and you're free because food's not controlling you anymore. And I think that's probably the ultimate. Food shouldn't be controlling us. Like, I think of food as nutrition now. And I remember being like that when I had 15 years ago. I was like, prioritized my protein then because I knew I had to, because that was, and vitamins. So, yeah, just don't let food control our lives.
Absolutely. We've got another 7-day no sugar challenge coming up November 25. So at $7 for 7 days. What would you say to people who are thinking about joining our 7-day no sugar challenge?
Dip your toe in the water and find out what's available and go for it. It is life-changing. It's not going to be a miracle 7 weeks, but it's going to give you 7 days. It's going to give you a taste of what there is and the tools available to help you. But just do it and reach out and discover and open up the world of low carb and real food, because I can't tell you how valuable it has been for me metabolically and from a physical point of view, like the change it's made to how I look, how I feel, how I move, and how much pain I have. If you asked me to carry 20 kilos now down the road, I'd be like, oh, you're kidding, I can't carry 20 kilos. I can't carry my grandchildren. But that's my grandchildren way less than what I've lost. And I can't carry them. But I was every day on my joints. My back doesn't hurt anymore. I used to have back pain all the time. So there's a lot of what we call, you'll learn this, off-scale victories. And for me, off-scale victories are decreased skeletal pain, decreased finger pain. My head is more clear. My skin's probably more clear. And I'm not driven by food. I'm not looking for my next meal. And don't be scared, because Dr. Mary and Dr. Lucy are there to support you all the way, and the wonderful Nikki's there in the background, as well as all the other women and men who have been there before us, and they're very open to share their story and provide support. So if you think you won't find somebody the same as you in there, you're probably wrong, because my story is unique, but so is your story, and but you can change your pathway for the future for better health. And that's really what's driving the Real Life Medicine group. I could share this professionally, if I had more years to work, I'd be able to get on the bandwagon and I would love to change people's ideas and attitudes. But that's not my journey now. My journey is looking after me.
Yes. And well, you've shared your story with the world today, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Honestly, thank you so much I love it. You're an absolute star, and you've done so well, and you've been really, really generous today sharing your story and your fabulous transformation. So thank you so much, Barbara.
And thank you for the group and the energy that is Real Life Medicine. It's a fantastic organisation to be a part of, and I'm not sure how I'll ever withdraw now. But yeah.
We'd love you to stay, yeah.
We look forward to new people joining us along the way.
Yes, we do, absolutely. Thank you so much, Barb, for sharing your truly inspirational story and journey. You're an absolute legend. And gorgeous listeners, our next 7-day sugar-free reset is on November 25th, and you can sign up now. It's just $7 for 7 days. So check it out. You can click the link in the show notes, or you can go to rlmedicine.com/no sugar, one word. And this wonderful 7-day program includes a fabulous little mini course delivered by Lucy and myself. It's got hypnosis, that wonderful, powerful mindset tool. We've got live Q&As and masterclasses, meal plans, recipes, everything you need to get started to turn your body into a fabulous fat-burning machine so that you can have better energy, boosted metabolism, lose weight without feeling hungry, and take that first fabulous step to your last weight loss journey. Check it out, and I can't wait to chat to you next week. Bye, lovely ones.
So, my lovely listeners, that ends this episode of Real Health and Weight Loss. I'm Dr. Lucy Burns.
And I'm Dr. Mary Barson. We're from Real Life Medicine. To contact us, please visit rlmedicine.com.
And until next time, thanks for listening. The information shared on the Real Health and Weight Loss podcast, including show notes and links, provides general information only. It is not a substitute, nor is it intended to provide individualized medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor can it be construed as such. Please consult your doctor for any medical concerns.